Hey everybody, welcome to the Balloon Guild. It is Jonathan Fudge here. We have an amazing day today with Miss Jenny Porter and Mr. Gerber. Going to be talking with her and learning more about all the cool stuff she does. But first, I want to give you a big update on all the cool stuff we've been doing at the Balloon Guild. So first of all, thank you, Jenny, for giving us all these amazing recipes in Christmas. I saw you jump in and give us a Christmas tree that was beautiful. And then within minutes, we had people posting pictures of that in the Balloon Guild and using that. Super, super awesome that we could apply that immediately. Also, we had so many people asking about that gingerbread house and issues with getting links, and you popped up and gave us the gingerbread house without the links, with just the wall version. So thank you for that. That was really great. We love seeing that. And in addition, this month, you have given us a ton, and I've been super busy out of town, and Mr. Gerber has been going above and beyond, working all hours of the night to get those things pulled together. So we have a gingerbread house, the Christmas tree, the sprinkled donut was really cute. The cactus gave us both a large and a small popsicle. And then I was just told that you have a small and large ice cream cone and some mushrooms. Is that correct? Sounds about
Maybe.
okay. Well, you have some other recipes coming this month too. Maybe Gerber can fill in on some of that. And then we've also put in this month, we have the Link golf bag, a 10-foot tall tree, balloon vines, that 20-foot vine that Mr. Gerber did at one of the recent conventions. And also today at 5 p.m., we have scheduled the hanging color changing columns. So that'll be another fun thing. Maybe we can get you another piece of that. So that's over 10 recipes this month that we have. And in addition, we had one SOP put up on how to file a DMCA. So someone asked, what happens if someone steals my photos and posts them on their website? And the answer is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act that is in your favor is meant to protect you when you have your stuff out there. So if someone's using your picture or someone's using your image or your video or your content, then you can actually file this. And what the Digital Millennium Copyright Act does is it says not only can you sue this person for stealing your stuff, but the hosting provider that's hosting their stuff is responsible. So when you file this DMCA, you're actually sending it to the hosting provider. So GoDaddy or HostGator or whoever's hosting that website will be sued if they don't take action to try to remedy the situation. So it usually gets pulled down within 30 days, which is really cool. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore. So that is up as our SOP. So that was this month. And then next month, we have all kinds of cool, amazing stuff planned for you. And we have Chris Adamo. Maybe Mr. Gerber can fill in a couple of details on that in just a moment. But we have Chris Adamo here for February. And we are hoping to do some cool stuff with that. So I am super excited. He has his tool for balloon artists that we are going to be going over in more detail. Maybe he'll give us a little demo of that. And then we'll also be able to see some recipes from him. And for you guys that don't know already, we will be at Float. So come by and see us, everybody that's going to be there. Also, we have some shirts available still. We have shirts for 25 bucks. Let us know. They're similar to what I have here, but they're full color. They're not just one, they're multicolor. It says the Balloon Guild on the back, if you can see that. So that's really cool and amazing. Just let us know. And anybody who said you wanted one, Gerber will tell you how to get in touch with him so that we can make sure we have your stuff ready to go. And stop by the booth. We'll take care of you and you can get your Balloon Guild tattoo. So show us a little swag and support, and we hope to see you there. But that is our updates, I believe. So I'm going to pass things over to Mr. Gerber so we can talk to Miss Jenny Porter and get some new and exciting stuff for today. And if there's anything else you want to add, you can feel free to do so.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm excited. We got a lot of love for Jenny already, so I'm excited to pick her brain and see what we can find out about this amazing woman. So, Jenny, let's do the personal stuff first.
Sure.
Family, are you married? Children's?
I am divorced with, I got 2 kids from that. There, get
Oh,
it.
hello.
One of them's here. I have twins, actually.
Oh, wow.
Identical girls that are 10. And then I have 2 stepkids. One is 15 and the other's 18. When they get
Okay.
older, it's harder to remember their ages.
It is. My son is going to be 17 in a couple of days. And I'm like,
Where'd it go?
why aren't you still a baby? Like I find I'm a little bit sad about him getting older. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's crazy. Kids give you like a fast forward button on your life, I think, and everyone you add just speeds up time a little bit. So 10 years old, do they know which one is older? Yes,
Yes.
no?
Yeah.
And does that
No, it's
information
like a
come out?
minute. It's not like it's like
Oh,
a
I know it's not important to us, but
yeah. When they're playing games, you know, when you play a game and it tells you like
yeah,
the oldest one goes first, that's when it comes into play, but that's about it.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I've heard some fights over, well, I'm older, whatever.
No,
So
yeah, not yet. I hope
kind of
that.
silly. All right, well, that's awesome. Okay, so how long have you been ballooning?
Since 2017. So I think what does that give me?
Oh,
8 years?
6 years. Wait,
Six,
7 years.
7. Yeah, 7.
24, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like what
Okay.
year?
Yeah, exactly. What got you into balloon?
Actually, I used to live in like a tourist town, which was we were lived and owned this like big house with a 3-car garage that we converted to a furniture store. And up there, it's really hard to get helium. So if you wanted to get like a helium balloon, you had to go to the dollar store, which was 40 minutes out of town.
Oh,
So we met Marlene Potts at like our Toronto gift fair, like, and she was a part of like Balloon, I think it's Balloons Online then.
okay.
They had like a booth and she like convinced us to get helium. So I was like, yeah, like we could do this, no big deal. We'll just get a helium tank, it'll be fine. Because we had 2 really big hotels near us. And so I was like, well, let's just add it and then we can offer one more thing. So that's how I kind of got started. And then when you get like back then it was harder to find courses and stuff. Um, so I had to go down this like really weird wormhole of trying to find places to go and how to get. So I ended up in Tennessee for a 6-day course. Yeah,
Oh,
there's a few other people I'm sure have been to it. And that's kind of where I started. And it was a really great course for like, this is a balloon. This is the neck. This is like it really like started you from basics. I had no idea. I was just like, let's get a helium tank. How hard could it be?
wow.
I did.
As a furniture company. So are you like
Yeah.
a rent to own furniture company,
So what it
building
was is like
furniture?
it was like a cottage country. So like people who wanted like rattan furniture, outdoor furniture, and like gifts and things. So like to give you an idea of like the type of people that were on our lake is Cindy Crawford, like high end, like very wealthy people.
Okay.
Yeah, so like they were coming in our store buying these random things for 5 months of the year. So then I was like, I need something else to do for the other months. Because we would close the store because of the snow. And so balloons kind of became a passion for me. That's how I started in balloons. Like, and then I went to
Yeah.
Joettes and I went to float and like then like the world got bigger and I was like, holy, like there's a lot of people doing this. This is crazy.
Crazy. I'm still trying to imagine you running a furniture store out of your garage and Cindy Crawford walking in.
Yeah, yeah, no joke.
I
Um,
never, it's okay.
Catherine O'Hara, like the girl that's from Home Alone, is that her name? The mom from Home Alone. She used to
Okay.
come in a lot. Steve Martin, um, who's the little guy that Martin Short? Like
Okay. Dang.
just yeah, random.
Super interesting. All righty.
Yeah.
Wow. I never would have guessed. So what made you, it doesn't sound like you still do furniture anymore.
No, so I'm like a serial entrepreneurial person.
Yeah.
Um, I when my girls were born, we needed more money because having twins is really expensive, and when
Yes.
you go off work from your like real job, they don't give you very much. So I was like, I'll just I'll buy a silhouette machine and I'll make these cups I've seen on Etsy. So I would print out people's names and sell these cups off of my like porch. People would come pick them up, and I that's what I
Yeah.
started with. I sold thousands of them.
from furniture to the Etsy cups?
Well, I started there, then I was like, well, maybe we'll own a t-shirt company. So we bought a big machine, like one of those big manufacturing
Yeah.
machines. We put it in our basement. We made thousands upon thousands of t-shirts. And then I was like, oh, like this isn't really fun anymore. Let's go into furniture because we had a friend that owned a furniture company and he was selling his house that included the store in this like beautiful little town. So I was like, let's do that. We sold all of our stuff and moved there. And then, yeah,
All right.
balloons is stuck though. I usually like I
Okay.
get a little bit bored, but balloons is stuck.
All right.
I
Any
think it's
other
the
crazy
conferences.
jobs? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You get, so I do like this about balloons because you can make all different kind of things. So you're not
Yeah,
necessarily making the same thing every day. And
yeah,
then you can travel around for it if you want to go to conferences. I mean, apparently everybody under the sun can teach now. So you can get somebody to let you teach at their place, especially if you're going to pay for yourself to teach. I don't know. So you
yeah.
can do
And
all of that
balloons is
stuff.
light. That was the big thing. Like carrying furniture is very
Yeah,
heavy.
right on.
Balloons is very light. Yeah, so
Okay. Any other crazy jobs?
I'm a nurse in like real life.
Aren't
Um,
you like you see the insides of people kind of a nurse?
yeah, I'm a registered nurse, so I worked for 15 years in the emerge.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, doing trauma nursing. Yeah, but then COVID hit and people stopped being nice, so I quit.
What's the hardest part about that particular job?
I think it's getting over what you've seen because there's still other
Okay.
people that need you. So like
Yeah.
you could do like a major trauma, however it turned out, whatever, and then you'd be like, oh, I have 6 more patients I have to manage. So
Yeah.
let's turn off all of our emotions and feelings and go do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I could
it
imagine
doesn't
your
stop.
normal day for you is meeting a lot of people on one of the worst days of their life.
Yeah,
And I gotta
everybody.
imagine that would be hard. Okay.
You
And
know what?
you,
I get by being a jokester. Like I joke a lot
yeah,
and I have a lot of fun. And even there, like prior to COVID, it was a really family oriented place. So when you were working with these people, they were your family. So it's like the balloon
right.
community. You show up and you're like, oh, so and so's here, best day ever, and like that's how it was.
Yeah.
Um, but after COVID, I think because like everybody's grouchy. So I was like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be in a grouchy place anymore. I need to like happiness.
Right on. So you send your kids to school or do you keep them home and teach them yourself? Or
No, we send them to school. Liv's just home today, but
okay,
yeah, they go to public school.
right on.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I'm glad I asked those questions because that's some interesting answers.
Right on.
Okay, so I do have a question. What's the name of your business?
My name of my business is Three Sparrows Balloon Studio. It's been
Okay.
numerous things. That's what it is.
Oh,
It's been for like 5 years. Um,
so the real question is, and I already knew the name of your business. I was just asking for everybody else's sake. Where did that name come from?
so when I got divorced, I decided that like it was just like the three of us forever.
Okay.
And so then I really like sparrows, like, so then I was like, oh, well, that just works. And my friend who owns a branding business, she said sometimes you just need something a little bit catchy, but it has to
Yeah.
relate to you. So
Hmm.
it did, and that's kind of how it came out. And it just kind of stuck.
In my head, since I don't know, like I didn't know your family dynamic, I was guessing you have 3 kids, and
Okay.
that's what it was. I wasn't that far off.
No, yeah,
So
I,
it's the
I
two
included
kids and
myself.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it. And it is catchy and it's different and I like it. So and I think people would remember that, right?
Yeah,
So
around here they do because everybody's like the competition I have in the area, it's very like not as memorable.
sure.
Yeah.
So on that note, what do you do? Talk to me about your business. Like what kind of decor do you
Mm,
primarily do? How do
sure.
you get it out the door? Are you big business? Do you work? Let's start here. Do you work from home or do
I
you go to
do.
work?
I work from
Work from home.
home. I have a detached garage that I work out of that has been transitioned into like my workspace. You might have seen it in different things, a whole bunch of things, but I have a slide in my garage that goes from like the loft down to the
Yeah.
main floor because the kids play in the loft.
Okay.
So that's where I primarily work out of. It's a small space, but it works for one person. I'm a one-man show.
Okay.
So yeah, I do a lot of classic stuff, like columns, things like that. But I who doesn't do organic? I feel like
Right.
everything in Canada, so like if you think of it this way, whatever you're doing now in the States, like I'll get to do in like 2 years.
Don't
So
you guys
everything's just
get
like
movies? You guys get movies the same time as we do, right?
yeah,
I
yeah, stuff
think,
like that. But we're just slow.
yeah. I think in the UK, they're like 2 or 3 weeks behind us in movies. So I
Yeah.
used to twist balloon animals in Orlando and I would meet people. They're like, I can't wait to get home and tell my friend I'm gonna ruin this movie for them. That's not even out for us yet, but I got to see it here. They're like, my friends have all been wanting to see it and we just watch it or whatever. So, but you guys are the same movie time as us, right?
Yeah, we're just like slow on trends and it has
That's
to
because
really
you,
be seen.
yeah, you guys are more laid back as a people
Yeah.
group. I feel like we're
Oh, yeah.
too high strung. Americans are too high strung in general.
We're just really like it is a really chill job and like my customers, I have a really great customer base over the last 5 years. Like I don't do ads, I don't put my name out. I should really work a lot harder and get more customers, but everybody comes back. So like
Yeah.
the other day I did someone's like a child's birthday, but I'd done the like baby shower first, second, third, fourth. And I'm like, oh hey, I'm back. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, are you still nursing?
I I want to keep my license. So to keep your license, you have to work a small amount every year. So technically, yes.
Okay. You're
I
not
believe that you
juggling.
never know. You never know what's going to happen in your life and what your
Yeah,
needs are. To lose the license, it would be a lot of effort to get it back.
sure. Yeah, and I'm imagining it took a lot of effort to get it to begin with.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. My parents paid a lot of money for that, and they really like to remind me that it's very important to keep my license.
how were they well pleased when you started a balloon business?
You know what? My dad used to be really hard on me about stuff like that. And then I think because he just saw how it was like working and it's
Yeah.
very profitable. He's come to jobs with me. He works on jobs with me every once in a while when things need to be done. And he's like, yeah, this is kind of fun. I was like, yes. And now
Yeah,
like
it's
traveling and stuff, I think he's like, oh, like,
yeah. That's a good feeling. My wife, I didn't know this until probably a couple years ago. My father-in-law told me, or no, my mother-in-law, she said, "Yeah, when my wife brought you around and I found out you were a balloon twister, I thought, I guess we're supporting our daughter the rest of her life." They're like, "But you've actually done a lot with this business. We're very proud." And I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, thank you so much. I never knew you doubted me at all. So thank you for
it's
keeping that
funny.
to yourself for such a long time." But
It's
that's pretty funny.
funny.
Okay. So how much business do you do? Like, I mean, you're welcome to share to whatever detail or not,
Sure.
but at minimum, like, are you doing a job a day on average, a couple jobs a week?
I find so for me, January, February, and July are like dead months for me, which is
Okay.
fine because I just manage like tax season and things like that. Um, so I do enough that works for me. So
Sure.
I pay all my own bills. I do like I pay my mortgage. I buy Lululemon. Like I'm very content with like how I roll. So um generally like I usually make between 60 and 100 depending on the year.
Okay.
But I do a lot of teaching, so I'm out of town a fair amount.
Yeah.
So I have a like competitor that I just like flip those jobs to. Um to me, like my goal when I started, so when I went to my first summit and I was watching like Cody and Katie Burns and um I was like, man, how awesome would it be to like travel for free and get paid. I'm like, this sounds perfect. How do I do that? How do I figure this out so that I do that? And then like the big builds and stuff like that. I'm like, how do I get on the team so that I can go and like be a part of that? Like, what do I need to do? What do I need to learn? What techniques and stuff? So
Cool.
That was
So
my
then
goal in all
you
of it.
brought up, like these months are slower.
Yep.
So then, and again, I know how I would do it, but I'm curious for you. You already know that they're slower, right? So you're not going into these months expecting to make.
Nope.
So do you save extra in advance and you kind of just
Yep.
ride it through time?
Yeah, so like I know I have like schools that I do in January at the beginning of the month, and those are really high earners for me. So I plummet through with generally like that money through January. But I am a saver, so like I don't really worry about money. Like if it's a bad month, then I'm like, oh, I'll just pull from here to get through
Yeah.
that. And then when there's a really great month, I make sure to put money back.
And have
Um,
you always been that way? Like, as soon as you
yeah, I
started
used to
earning
be
money?
like even better at it because before kids, like I
Poor
had
kid.
spreadsheets and I knew like everything about everything. But now I feel like my brain is just like mushi since kids. And like, I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm not as like on top of it, but I'm not worried about money. So
Yeah. Right on. That's awesome. Well,
yeah.
hopefully that's a good tip for everybody to know your seasons, to know,
Mhm.
like, if I know these months are slower every year, I shouldn't be caught by surprise wondering how I'm going to get my bills paid for 2 months when it's the same every year. Like, that's important information for people to know.
Yeah,
So,
it's always been the same. Like I can see it trending
yeah.
in like in my 17 hats and my taxes. Um, I could
Awesome.
try harder, I'm sure, and go out there and try to get more business. But I'm pretty content and like I'm watching like the kids and I are watching The Walking Dead this month. Like, so
My
like it
daughter
gives me
remembers,
time.
she remembers me watching that when she was a toddler. And
Yeah.
I thought, you're not going to remember any of this, so I can just watch whatever I want. I don't care if The Walking Dead's on and you're 2 years
Yep.
old walking around. Now she's like, no, I remember that, Dad. That was terrible stuff. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, we love
so,
it.
yep, yep. Okay, so what are you the most grateful for in general and then also in business?
I'll start in business. I think I'm most grateful for the opportunities that I've been given. So, um, I think a lot of time people say it's lucky, like, oh, you just got lucky. But I think I'm grateful for the connections I've made and then those people believing in the skill sets that I had and kind of pushing me in different directions. Like Melissa Vinson, I would say is one of like the main people that kind of pushed me into it for teaching. And she gave me these like insanely great tips that I was like, okay, if I just use these tips, like maybe I'll get better at different things. Like it's silly things like when you're naming a class, make it like exciting and don't just
Yeah,
be like, I'm teaching X. Like make it exciting for people. So I think those things I'm really grateful for. So I've made these really great connections that I get offered back every year. And without those connections, like I talk to everybody. I'm not one of those people. I don't I'm very in like I'd like to think I'm very humble when that comes to stuff like that. I'm every time someone follows me, I'm like, yes. Or they message and they're like, I'll see you at Float. I'm like, say hi to me because I have no idea who you are, but I want to. Those are the things like that I'm really grateful for. At home in life, you know, I say sometimes I was dealt a kind of poor hand when it came to like divorce and things like that. I felt really like lost and worried that like life would not get better. But the grass is greener. So I think like once I put that positivity hat back on, I'm really grateful that I've met really great people in my current my boyfriend now is like made my life so much better. So I think you forget sometimes when like life is kind of going like this and it seems like it's exploding, that there is greener pastures and that
yeah,
it does get better. And sometimes, and you know what, balloons really helped me because when I would go to those conferences, everybody's so happy. Like it's the happiest bunch of people. I've been to nursing conferences. It is not like that. People do not dance in costumes and like things like that. So it's just, I've never really fallen into something I really loved until I got to balloons. And I think that just made me kind of a more happy and grateful, or as Diana Gladden would say, grateful and blessed person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of I steal all the little bits from all of you who talk to me about different things, and then I just like make myself like a hopefully a better person.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That's to me very inspirational. I've heard, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and this one guy, Alex Ramosi, he said, the grass is, it always looks greener on the other side, but it's still fertilized with manure. Like it's, it's crap everywhere. Everywhere you go, you're going to have it. And it's only going to be greener if you work the ground and you do the things you need to
Yeah.
do to make it work. So that's, I'm glad to hear for you that it sounds like
Yeah.
everybody, we've all gone through some stuff, and yeah,
Yeah, it's not quitting. What I always say to my kids, I'm like, well, what's your hard? What's harder? Doing this or doing this?
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, what's your hard? Because
yeah. Cool. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, so thank you for that. Advice for newbies, for new
Ooh,
people. The Balloon Guild has a lot of new people who are new-ish to balloons, at least in our Facebook group. And what advice would you give to somebody just starting?
go and do as much education you possibly can, whether it be in person or um like even through YouTube, just learn. Learn as much as possible, because really at the end of the day, doing one thing like organic all the time, one day organic won't be a big deal. So learn all the old techniques, follow like the people that are like the OGs, like Sue Bowler.
Yeah,
like there's so much to give that's old material that still works now. Um, so for me, I would say like learn and go to conferences and like just join as much as you can, because once you get inspired by all these different people, it just makes you want to do it more. And I think that would be
yeah,
my best advice.
super good. Okay. Um, I have a couple more questions, and then we have you. Did you watch the interview with Sarah? So you know the 20
Yep.
questions. We're gonna try to do that. We're gonna do that again. Not try. We're gonna do it. But what are your goals for 2024?
Ooh. Um, oh man, I'm trying to get through March at this point. I'm really, really stressed out and anxious about float, because I'm teaching. And because there's so many people going, I'm just unsure of um how I fit in to that. So I'm trying to get through March, and then I feel like from there, I'm really excited. The Big Balloon Build is working with Dante, and he's
Okay.
doing a lot of the design stuff. So I'm excited to learn how he designs, because I think that it's really different and
Hmm.
interesting how he does it. So I want to learn more about that. But really I feel like 2024 is just like pushing through health. I want to really get my health on track, every year I say that in January, but this year I'm gonna do it. I'm going into the gym again, which is nice. It's like your outlet. I forget what it's like when you finally go, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like it's my moments to myself where no one asks me like, where's the pencils? Like, I don't
Are you
know.
past the point of being sore every day now, or are you still there?
No, I'm going to Orange Theory. I don't know if you guys have
Okay.
that out there,
Yeah, we do actually.
but it's really hard. And every day doesn't seem easier. And there's this old man that I always go by, and that's what motivates me. I'm like, Jesus, like he's probably in his mid 70s and he's like busting through and running when I'm still power walking. I'm like, okay, like this
Yeah.
guy can do it. I can do it. Like,
Yeah.
so
That's awesome.
yeah.
Okay, cool. So and I'm assuming you already know what you're teaching at Flow. You've already submitted that information. Is
Oh
that
yeah.
already on the class schedule? Like, can you share what you're teaching?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm doing all things alternate duplet, I think. So like duplet
Oh,
pack
okay.
type stuff. So how to manage smaller projects. Not everything has to be a big, huge wall. Um, and then I'm doing bold backdrops, how to manage and like do different types of backdrops with foam board.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll be interesting.
Well, I know Mr. Fudge and I are going to be at Float, so I'll come to your
Yeah.
class. And if you need that person to look at, to just
I know
not have to look at everybody else, just find me
it's
and I'll
so
be that guy
big.
for you.
Yeah, so I think like obviously not everybody can come, but I think it's around 200 people are allotted to each classroom. So
That's pretty awesome.
yeah, it's a big venue, which is like I've
Yeah.
done 100. I'm going to New York in February to do Tough Techs. They're doing like a 1 day Tough Techs mini experience, I guess.
Okay.
So I'm doing that with Anna Karina from Toronto as well, and
Right.
Daloons. Um,
And what city are you in? Somebody had asked that question. What part of Canada?
I'm right near Toronto. It's
Okay.
easier unless you're from
Yeah.
around here. I'm in Oshawa, which is if you're from here.
All right, cool. Okay, so you're teaching for Tough Techs at Float. Is that
I'm
correct?
not. I'm teaching for Jamar at Float. I'm
Jamar.
like
Okay.
Sarah Myers always says like you're like free, like a
Yeah,
free agent. Yeah,
which
I don't
hopefully is
really
a
stick to.
normal thing.
Yeah.
Like it
Back
always
in the day,
bothers
I'd
me.
say you had to. You had to stay with
Yeah,
one brand, but now they understand that we're using all the brands.
yeah,
So I don't think you get pigeonholed as much as you once maybe did. And I've just been really lucky to create those like connections with all the different
right.
brands and
Cool.
teach for them.
Okay.
It's about skill and like more about than it is about like the actual.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, and like you said, all of these brands have something for most
Yeah.
people. And if you don't like one brand, guess what? There's a bunch more, and they're
Yeah,
probably
there
not
is.
gonna. Yeah. So just like our own businesses, there's lots of balloon decor businesses around, but what makes yours the one people want to go
Right.
with?
Right.
So that is a real question for you. I got off track earlier. What is about your business that separates you from everybody else?
I always tell people that people are buying from me. So they're not buying, anybody can make a column, but they're buying the column because they know me and what I'm providing, right? So I'm always on time. I always pick up on time. Message, not the best at messaging, but I let people know. And they're buying from the person. So I always I try to be really, I'm always there. I do the deliveries. They know Jenny. The people text me like, "Hey Jenny, it's Ryan." I'm like, "Hey Ryan, I don't remember you from like 2 years ago." He's like, "Can we just do the same thing?" I'm like, "Could you send me a picture?"
Yeah,
Right? They trust you. It's a trust thing, and it seems so funny, but it's like I go to the same restaurant I've gone to since I was a kid. Like it's you trust them.
yeah,
They don't know me. They don't know I go on Thursdays because they have a specific soup that I like since I was a child. But it's just you get used to something and once it works, they're your person.
yeah.
Um, so
Okay. So then, one last question, then we're going to get to the 20.
sure.
What is your death plan for your business, if you have one? This is a big question I personally like. And what will your business look like at that point?
It's like if it no longer exists.
Um, what is your end game for your business? Do you just want to work it till you die, or do you have dreams at some point of having 1 million employees? Like,
No, I don't know. I think that's a really hard question. I'm
hmm?
like I'm a coaster. Like I'm just like, oh, okay, like this really works for now and like it's going really well. But if it like all blew up and I couldn't do it, um, I think I would just find something else. Like I'm
What if
just
it blew up in a different, in a
yeah,
positive
well,
direction?
that's the thing. It's so I say every year I'm gonna get a will. Don't shame me because I don't have a will.
I'm the same. We're the same.
And I say it every year. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. Because like where would your stuff go? Like, I'm like, I don't know. Like I
Yeah.
don't know where it would go to the kids. They're like, yeah, but it's not written down. I'm like,
Because then the government decides. I'm in
yeah.
the same boat. So you're preaching to me right now. My wife is probably over listening to this. Like,
Yeah, I know I need to do it. I know I need to think more about it. I feel really great that I have like a savings from like I started saving money since I was 13 in an RS. Do you guys call them RSPs? Maybe you call it
um,
401k or something.
Yeah,
Like
there's a
the
401k
retirement
or
plan.
something. Yeah,
So my parents used to make us put 50% of our paychecks
dang,
into our retirement plan.
okay.
So like,
50%'s a lot.
yeah, like when you're a kid working at the Gap, like that's a fair amount of your paycheck.
Yeah,
But they really believed in saving for your future. So I was able to pay for like my college. I went to college twice. Like I paid for
okay.
my own car because they didn't believe in really paying for you for things. Like when I lived at home and I was at school, I paid rent to my dad.
Okay. Now here's the question. Um, did they give that money back to you when you left? No, they just kept it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
like my wife and I, if our kids ever have to live with us again, we're gonna do the same because we want you
Yes.
to be self-sufficient. So you're
Yeah.
gonna get used to paying rent. They don't know we're gonna save that. And when you
See, I
get
think they
out
had
on your
plans of
own,
it, but like, I don't know. I
yeah,
think life
stuff
kind of,
happens.
my dad lost his job in his 40s. Like, I think life kind of just got in the way. But
Sure.
yeah, like I bought my first house at 28 because my dad told me that was important. But don't buy a regular house, Jenny. Buy a duplex because someone should
Live
live
in one
to pay
side,
your
rent the
mortgage.
other. See, man,
So like it was just like all these
yeah,
small
that's
things
awesome.
that made a difference. Um, but the problem with divorce is when you get divorced, like someone else gets half of your money and you have to start all over again. But I still, as a single person, I was able to buy my own house. So
Yeah,
like, so I feel like my parents, if they pass away, they know that like me and my brother are okay because they put all those building blocks into
yeah.
place.
Sounds awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a lot more personal and inspirational than I thought it was going to be. Um, so for anybody going to float, they should hang out with you and buy you a drink, right? Would that be
Actually, don't
appropriate?
drink. Yeah, I don't
Okay, then
drink.
buy you a coffee
Yeah.
or a
A diet,
juice
I
or a
always,
water, some diet water. Yeah, whatever. Diet
yeah,
Pepsi. My wife's a Diet Coke person. She can't take
I
Pepsi.
am
I
the
think
opposite.
yeah. Okay. Are you ready for 20 questions?
I'm ready.
All
We're
right,
going to try for 2 minutes.
I
It's
have
a
a
goal.
new timer thing that I don't know if it's gonna work, so I'm gonna throw that out there. I will throw in that we have one more question from Patty from Balloon Onesie, was asking if you had an art background as well.
My mom is actually an artist, so I honestly believe it's genetic. Sometimes you can just look at colors and it makes sense. And my mom is that person, and I kind of grew up with that. And my brother's a great drawer, and so are his kids. My kids are great drawers. I think it's just lucky genetics.
Right.
Awesome.
Okay. So questions wise, I will say after the 20 questions, unless there's like some follow up from some of them, because maybe, we are going to open it up for anybody to ask questions that they want. At that time, I'm going to start something that we do in a mastermind group that I'm a part of. And you're going to start it with, hi, my name is, I am grateful for, and my question is whatever, right? So,
Cool.
example, I'm Johnathon Gerber. I'm grateful for having a great family, having a job that I love, making good money, and living the kind of life that I want to. And my question for Jenny is, I got 20 of them. You ready?
I'm ready. Here.
Okay. Um, favorite music?
Pop, like
Pop.
Britney Spears.
Okay, John, you gonna start that thing? I'm giving you a jump start. Is it started already?
Started already, go for it.
Okay, favorite music, pop, favorite food,
Tacos,
tacos, favorite dessert,
chocolate cake,
podcast.
Sarah Myers,
Awesome. Favorite movie.
Shrek 1, 2, and 3,
Awesome. Favorite toy growing up.
Cabbage Patch Kids.
Okay. What did you want to be when you grew up, when you were not grown
I wanted to be an actress.
up? Oh, awesome. Did you do any extracurricular activities in school, and what were they?
Everything to get out of school. So my
Oh,
name in the yearbook had like every number because I was in every group.
okay. Um, inspirational book recommendation.
The Energy Bus, but I think it's John Gordon.
Okay. Yeah. Organic or classic?
Classic.
Favorite creation or job that you've ever done?
I did a job for Chucky, the TV series. That was pretty cool.
Okay. Your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Favorite theme?
Mm, fiesta.
All right. You like the tacos again, right? Okay. If you could meet one person, who would it be?
In the whole world?
Sure. Of all time.
Ooh, that's tough. Oh no, I'm running out of time.
We can come back to it.
Okay, come back to it.
All right. If you could have one superpower.
Invisibility.
All right. If you could know the date you were going to die, would you want to?
Yes.
All right. If you could spend a day anywhere, where would that be?
I'd like to go to like Bora Bora or like one of those fancy places that have the huts on the water.
Oh, yes. Okay. What would be your spirit animal?
I think maybe a deer.
All right. If you could go back in time and give one piece of advice to yourself, what would it be?
Um, I would say like work out in your teenage years so that you know what it's like to be at the gym.
All right. If you could meet one person.
Um, I don't know. Maybe The Rock. He's pretty cool.
Okay. All right. Which Harry Potter house would you belong to? This is the last.
Gryffindor.
Gryffindor. All right. Thank you. John, how'd we do? I didn't see the timer, but maybe it's because my view is on speaker view.
Yeah, so I actually, like I said, this is the first time doing it, so it should have been as one of the participants. I don't know. I don't have a way to test it right now, but it says 2 minutes and 41 seconds. So
Oh boy. So that 2 minute mark is not, we also, okay. 2 minutes
2 minute mark
might be
is hard. It's a hard
might
mark.
be
Like it's
aggressive.
got to be bullet to hit two. But I
Yeah.
think again, we're just trying it out. We're trying to figure it out. And I don't know if the questions change every time or not, but we're playing around with it. But I think that
I'm narrowing them down to the top 20 bestest questions. I like this list. This was a good list, I think.
yeah, so we're
Um,
working on it. So I'd say under 3 minutes is like the easy goal. Under 2 minutes is the
Gold
crazy
star,
goal.
platinum star. Okay, you mentioned a book, Jenny. What's it called? Just
It's
for
called
everybody?
The Energy Bus.
The
And it's
Energy Bus.
yeah, the thing is John Gordon.
Okay.
It's like a it's it's a really interesting book about someone who's having a terrible day and they think everything is terrible and they end up on a bus and the bus driver teaches them every day a lesson to make their life better.
Okay.
It's
Interesting.
really it's a really
Yeah,
cute
sounds
book.
good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So
So,
I want to say that hearing a lot of this, I heard some cool stuff. So I love Know Your Season. I think that was super important for us all to know. Um, Making it exciting. You were talking about classes, but I think that works with like what we're offering our clients and talking about
Mm,
what we do. Like I really love that. Um, what's your hard? I thought was a really great concept. And I think with my 5-year-old daughter, that's something that I'm excited to try. So like I'm always learning new things for like growing my family. And then the one for my wife that I got to walk away and tell her is buy a duplex. So we're going to work on that as well. I am
Yeah.
so excited.
So funny.
okay. So, awesome. Well, if anybody has any questions, this is the time that I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. I'm going to make sure I turn the view on where I can see this. If you could raise your hand, and then we will call on you. You can unmute yourself, give us your name, what you're grateful for, and what your question is for Miss Jen. I mean, you could ask us questions too, but ideally, we'll start with the questions for Jen. And if I don't call on you and your hand's raised for a little while, you can just unmute yourself. It's not a million people on right now.
Yeah, but I also want to say thank you, Jenny, for going over all this stuff. I absolutely
Oh,
love hearing
Yeah.
about other people. And I think what I'm finding most interesting in these interviews is not so much, oh, what did she say about how to build a column? It's, oh, this is a real person too. Like, and they've got other things going on, and we're not the only ones struggling
yes.
with crazy things. And so
It's funny because when I was in Miami after Summit,
Yeah,
um Kristen from she's at Summit as well.
yeah,
She came with me, and I'm friends with Lily from Creative Heart Studio,
yeah.
and she invited us for lunch. And Kristen was like, "We're going to her house." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "But her actual house." I was like, "Yes, she's just a person who lives in a house and like creates content in her house." Like
Oh,
she,
that's
she's
great.
like, she wants us to come for lunch. I was like, "Yes."
Kristen, I love Kristen.
It's
All right,
so
so
funny. It's just like I don't think about it anymore, but I do remember when I was starting out, like thinking of all those people, like the Deco sisters. I remember meeting at Float 2020, and I was like, oh my God, like hello. Like
that's
this is
great.
so awkward. Like, but they're just people and they want to talk to you. And um yeah, it's just really, it's funny how different it becomes once you're in the industry for a bit longer. But I remember the time when it was like, I was like, oh my God. I would have been like, oh my God, it's Lily. But now I'm just like texting. I'm like, hey Lily, like, what do you think of this? Like,
That's
You want to
awesome.
know what feels real embarrassing is at Burton and Burton for their Balloon University, they made little cards with the faces of the instructors, and they invited their attendees to go get signatures.
oh my God. That's like the pop cards. Yeah.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? I had a handful of people. I'm like, you're just doing this to embarrass me, right? Like, this is why you want my signature, because you know it makes me feel really weird
Yeah.
to sign my signature on a face.
That's great. Well, Katie has her hand
Yeah.
raised, so I'm gonna ask her to
Hi, Kate.
unmute.
Oh,
Hey, Jenny.
Hmm.
Fellow Canadian. I'm Katie, and I'm grateful for all the people that I have been introduced to. Summit was like a major Kristen, who Jenny was just talking about, hunted me down and was like, "Hey, can you train me?" And I was like, "No, we're gonna be friends. But I'll show you what to do, but we'll be friends." So that's kind of a relationship, and she pushed me into Summit because I would never go by myself. I'm a big chicken. And then meeting all the people at Summit, I'm like, I can't not go next year now because I have to see my friends, and it's the only chance I get to see my friends. And Float unfortunately falls in a bad spot for me this year. It's our March break, and then I'll take 3 kids. It's crazy. So yeah, so my question for Jenny is, how do you try to show like the new styles that we see so many cool things because our friends are all in the States and are doing these amazing things? How do you introduce them to your clientele and show them like, I can do better things than what you're seeing on the internet? I see cool
Uh,
things.
I call it an a la carte menu. So what I do is, so when people ask for certain things, because a lot of times they already have something in their head they think they want, they don't know that there's like better things out there. So what I do is I do like as long as it's like a bigger job, like a mock-up of like what they want, and then like I bring it to like what I want them to have. And then I usually follow up with a phone call and just explain like, hey, like no one is standing beside the helium bouquet that you want me to make for their Instagram. Everybody's standing beside this amazing marquee display that I can make. So you want 20 of these, or I can make one of these and they're going to stand right here and get their picture and they're going to tag you. So I try to be very cognizant of like what will benefit their business. Um, because at the end of the day, like I find that older people want helium. And it's a great add-on, but it shouldn't be a focal point because I legit don't know anybody who stands beside a helium bouquet and is like,
I
"Please,"
love
like
that.
there's nobody.
I just
They're gonna stand beside a really nice organic column or like, so there's lots of ways to like, I find it's easier if you call them and just say like, hey, this, and if it's something you want to do and it's out of their budget, maybe it's an opportunity to like increase their budget a smidge, but do it for a bit less so that
throw in some, yeah.
you get the pictures. Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. Cool. Thanks, Jenny.
Yeah, no problem.
all right. Any other questions for Miss Jenny? About 10 more minutes. And if not, do you guys have any questions for John?
All or anything you guys would like to see in the Balloon Guild. We have a lot of stuff that we've lined up that are coming up that we were talking about before this call. I can tell you that I am personally super excited about February and even more so for March. And we're not throwing those bones out just yet, but there's lots of cool stuff coming up. So very excited about that. I'm also excited about getting a colored shirt because mine's all just black and white. So I'm going to be throwing my name in for that too.
I got a question, and I don't know if you guys have, how do you become a guest designer?
Oh, that's a great question. So I have my answer, and Gerber and I haven't necessarily talked about this answer together. I would say basically anybody who's willing to share, that thinks they have something to give to the group. I have no problem encouraging that and helping people become a guest designer. We've tried to proactively find people that we think someone might be starstruck or excited to see, only because we're trying to add as much value as possible to our members. And we have connections in the industry where, like, I wasn't super great friends with Jenny Porter specifically, but through our group of the Balloon Guild, she agreed to come on and help. And it wasn't just beneficial for me, but I think for everybody. But even you, Katie, as an example, could show up and people may not know who you are, but everybody has something to share, even if it's your story. And I think we can all learn from that. So I think anybody and everybody that wants to give has the opportunity to. And I know, Gerber, you have some additional stuff to share on that too, if you'd like to add in.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to grow the Balloon Guild. So when I think about guest designer, the two ways that I think about it is, one, do we see somebody putting designs out there that they're showing off of their work that fills a hole that we have? So Elena, the first person who was our guest designer, had those cute little marquees. They were really clean, really well done. And I thought, we have 0 marquees in our recipes right now. That will fill a hole. And that's why we did it, because of her designs that I went after her. And then also, if this person just by name alone could bring people in, because, oh, hey, we see Jenny's the guest designer, we would love to see her recipes, then that benefits us. So that's why we do that. I'm kind of like Jenny. We're just regular people. I was talking with Jenny before this. We're regular people who actually just do stuff. We don't sit around talking about doing stuff, but we actually do it. That's what separates people who are getting after it and people look up to them, to those who are just sitting at home looking up to everybody else. So I would love to have people who have recipes and maybe they don't have a following, and that's fine, but you have recipes that you want to share, you're a part of, like, that is going to be, in the long run, the backbone of our company, is a large group of people sharing with one another in a way where John and I and you and Kristen and Jen Nikos mostly just facilitate a group. That's what I think ultimately I would like this to be, is we're facilitating a group that's just going to grow and grow and be a benefit to people for generations. So if somebody has recipes that they like and they think my customers love these designs, yeah, you're welcome to pop us a message, because I would like to get to a point where we might have a guest designer and then maybe a spotlight design. I don't know what words we would call it, but we'd have to have something like, hey, we have this person, like Jenny gave us 2 recipes before she was a guest designer, right? I would like to have like hey, here's a little spotlight designer. Somebody shared some recipes with us. And then we still work on the back end to make sure that it benefits that person. And then we're not just stuck with one person where we're afraid to show someone else's designs because, I don't know. I don't want it to be weird, but I would love to have something like that. And then a year from now, find out that person has went on to do bigger and better things. And maybe now they're teaching and we can be like, we knew her way back then, and, or whatever. I think that would be cool. And I would like to be a part of that too.
Yeah, I also want to add in that if you think you have some designs, but you think they're not good enough for the group, there's a couple of things. One, Chris and Marlene Potts, you guys probably know some stuff that they've done they literally gave us some of their designs on napkins. So like, it's not, it doesn't matter if they're good enough. It doesn't matter if you don't think one thing or another. Like, everything you do is amazing, and everybody here is successful in your own way, and we've all taken different journeys to that success. And when we share in those successes, that's how we all grow. So like Jenny's recipes, I think we copy pasted and then just threw Balloon Guild on there for some of them. Like different people had different recipes for different stages. So we're not asking you to perfect your stuff. We're actually trying to provide the service of making your stuff better. So I know that that was a huge draw for the pots, is they said, man, our recipes are literally on napkins. If you can make them look prettier, I would rather hand those to our staff next year. So like, it maybe you're in that position, or maybe you're like Sarah Meyer, who says, hey, I only have 3 recipes, but you can use the 3 I have. And so, and we did that, you know, so everybody has something they can give to the group. And I think everybody can help in some way or another. Now, Stephanie does have your hand up. Are you able to unmute? I'm going to go ahead and unmute you, or ask you to unmute.
Hi, Stephanie, and I'm grateful for my family.
Grateful.
I do have a question. It's for all 3 of you, I guess. Can you hear me?
You're breaking up a little bit, but I can hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm also in the middle of driving, so my apologies. But the question for all 3 of you is can you guys like give somebody what is the word I'm looking for? I'm so sorry. Okay, let's try this again. The question is, what would you guys give somebody who's just starting out that you guys have learned throughout your whole entire process? It doesn't matter what it was that you guys are doing in business, but what is the main thing that somebody would need to know when they first starting out, really, really starting out?
Are you talking about supplies, or are you talking about action steps?
Supplies, action steps, all of that starting out, so that way people don't make the same mistakes. Because I've been down through a lot of rabbit holes that I had to relearn myself since being in business since 2009.
So I'll share a couple things with you from me. So, and then I'll let them jump in too and mute myself. But I run an entertainment and balloon decor business, so I've got it from both sides. So for me, I found that a magician, for instance, can be a successful magician if he's good at marketing and he's a mediocre magician. So that doesn't mean you should focus on being mediocre, but that means that you really have to learn the business side of a business in order to be successful overall. And you only get that through education. So that doesn't mean necessarily that you go to every balloon YouTube video you can watch, because frankly, most of those people know nothing about business, and that's okay. But you should learn the business side as well, and always stay educating yourself. As far as products go for balloons specifically, I was told buy 11-inch white rounds, a precision air, and everything else you can get from Party City on the fly. And it's not the best, most profitable way to do it, but if you have a precision machine and you have white rounds, you can match almost any theme with like a little bit of something else. So I'll stop there, and if anybody else wants to throw stuff in.
It's really funny. I hate going to Party City for stuff. I'll give you advice that Tiffany from Confetti Castle gave to me at Summit, where I was just like, yeah, you're right. Farm out the stuff that you're not good at. So don't waste extra time on stuff that doesn't provide you joy or your business. For me, it's bookkeeping. I used to have a corporation. I would do all my own bookkeeping. It was the dumbest thing I've ever done, because I would spend hours upon hours with all these papers, and I was angry about it, and I'd leave it to the last minute because I didn't want to do it. And when I got a bookkeeper, so it's very minimal money, and I think of money as like marquees. I'm like, if I sell 2 medium marquees, that pays for the bookkeeper. That seems like nothing. So like get rid of the stuff that you hate doing, like website design. Like if you're not a website designer, you'll spend hours upon hours doing your website, which won't get you anywhere because you've just wasted all those hours. I'd rather put the hours into things that I'm really good at. So when Tiffany said that to me, because I really don't like doing like emailing, or I'm not really great with lists, she's like, why don't you just find someone to do that for you? I was like, what do you mean? She's like, just like ask a friend to like write a list for you. And when they talk to you, they just write it down. That's Kristen for me. She'd be like, do you want me to add that to our list? I'm like, yep. Because I'm always on the go. So there's things that I just can't do. And so it's just a funny, she made it look so simple. And I was like, yeah. I wish I had that advice at the beginning, because I spent loads of time doing stuff and hours upon hours of time doing stuff that I didn't need to do.
I would agree with what you said about education. Education is,
Mhm.
it's going to make your learning curve so much faster, because you're learning from other people and what it took them to get where they did. So then you can avoid making some of the dumb mistakes, because they've already made them for you. And if they're willing to share that information, then as long as you're willing to listen to it and trust that what they're telling you is true, you don't have to go prove it true by wasting a bunch of time to find out the hard way. So that's, and then I would say, while you're slow, work on your processes while you have time to do it. It's so hard to write everything down when you're trying to survive. But if you write down your plans, your processes, as you're going, then when you're busy, you'll already have that in place. So when you need to bring someone on, you'll already have things for them to read and review and learn how to do stuff without it taking 100% of your time to teach them, because you'll have it written down. So,
Yeah,
which you can get a lot of that too.
yeah, there's also a really cool website you can go to that can help you with a lot of it. It's theballoonguild.com.
Yep.
And our goal is to try to get you more recipes, more processes. And then they also have these cool webinars where you get to learn from other professionals and you get to ask them questions. So like really you're doing the right thing already. So
Yeah.
like I'm kind of making a light of it, but this is what we're here for. Because I can tell you as a business owner, things are stressful. You feel alone. Like you're not alone. And yes, it can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. And that comes with education. The more prepared you are, the less stressful you feel. And we're here to help you be prepared so that you have less stress, so you can be more productive in what you're doing.
Agreed.
All
So
right. Well, I think for the sake of making sure we're being respectful of time,
I'm gonna,
we're out of it.
yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording. So I want to say real quick, thank you very much from the Balloon Guild, Miss Jenny,
Yeah,
for doing
thank
such
you,
an
Jenny.
awesome job, providing us with so many amazing things. We had some great interview comments and such too. We didn't read all those, but thank you very much for being a part of this. Thank you for sharing and being so open to share not just about your balloons, but your life and your business. And we look forward to seeing more of you in the Balloon Guild for sure. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.